Hey, you guys. Oh, you lovely Sagittarian lovers. It's MJ from All to Love TV. Happy to be here with you guys. We're going to do a little intuitive reading for the month ahead, which is July 2023. You guys, if you be resonating, feel free to book a private reading. I offer online yoga services, meditation, breathwork, EFT, and of course the readings. And if you're super strapped for cash, feel free to negotiate. At the same time, I have the right to say no, right? So that happens as well. Sometimes the old intuition doesn't feel aligned, and that happens rarely, but it does happen. So divine guidance and loving clarity for my beautiful Sagittarius lovers. Divine guidance and loving clarity. Let's see what we get for these energies for July 2023. I'm getting a movement, some movement happening, like a wind movement almost, like wherever you are, the wind is blowing and there's some change of foot. There's some shifting energies with regards to your own heart and emotional. It's like you're learning how to give less. That's a good thing in the way that I'm interpreting the energies. Yeah. There's something about like really pulling back, getting a bit of a perspective rather than just staying in a loop of giving all the time. It's like giving naively. And getting into a slightly more disciplined cycle with regards to topping up your energy, and then you can serve. Topping up your energy, and then you can serve. Who's the Knight of Cups in this situation? Knight of Cups. There could be a familial thing going on here with regards to the movement, as in there could be a phone call, a message coming through a family member. For some reason I'm getting these Knight, Queen, and the kid and the people in these energies like they're all a family. And for some reason I'm getting a sense like the Queen of Cups is calling the Knight of Cups home. And again, do what you like with the genders or circumstance. Why there's some sun shining upon, there could be some really good news actually. Like if you have a kid, maybe your kid's preggers or something, pregnant. For now, I think you're having to really focus your energy on this familial situation. And for some of you, you have turned your back on love, or the Queen of Cups has turned her back on love. So if this is someone you're in a relationship with, she's focused on family and probably money, or some of you, that Six of Pentacles is giving me a sense that for some of you, this could be inheritance money as well. Yeah. And again, it's just for some of you, obviously, with general readings, there's no way the generals could be for everybody, of course. So, pardon me. I feel that card too. The Trust card has just reared its gorgeous head. And I was kind of getting that sense even beforehand. This is with regards to healing some familial situation or just being able to be there for somebody. Why have you turned your back on love? Or why has this Queen of Cups turned her back on the love? Yeah, she's actually focusing on a new vision. So if you are in a connection with the Queen of Cups, I wouldn't worry. They're not in love. They're just not focused on it. They're focused on familial stuff, and there's definitely some sort of new vision. There's some sort of new vision getting downloaded that this queen is having to take time out to be like, wait, am I doing that right? Am I moving through? Because this, what was at the beginning? The movement was about actually pulling back, Sag. Give less, basically. Figure out how to give less. And I'm not even sure if that's could be as simple as canceling some of your monthly subscriptions. Although I don't think it's that for some of you. I think it has more to do with your energy, actually. And I know that this stuff can be tricky. And like, oh, I have 2 kids and a husband and a house and a job and and you want me to find an extra 20 minutes? And like, oh, sorry. Like it can just seem impossible. And yet, having worked with lots of different people, the truth is when we're ready to make a change, we do. When we don't really want to make a change, we don't. It's like, it's simplicities. It's like, as in, even somebody who's like, I really don't have time and working full time and I have this, but you're right. I can find 5 minutes. I can find 10 minutes. And in some situations, it's actually just a matter of communicating our needs to the people in our lives, like saying to the children, I need 5 minutes, mom needs 5 minutes, leave me alone, right? Or dad is taking 20 minutes, right? And that's something that we as adults, because also think of it like that energetic, putting that on a child. Oh, I'm so stressed out because of you, right? And it's like, do you think that child would appreciate, like, I don't like being stressed out like that, so I need to take a bit of time for myself and then I can come back and be fully present for you, kind of thing. If you explain these things to children, they understand, right? It's the kind of reactivity and then neglect and then these shades, right, of lack of communication that I think can often stew and do the most harm over a period of time, because that inception of neglect or shame or punishment is the trauma, is the moment where it's like, oh God, okay, I better shapeshift myself. I better hide myself. I better man up. Whatever it might be, right? This is another thing that came up in session recently was I was like, they were like, oh, so tapping is cool, man. So we do a bit of tapping. She's like, it's so weird. That I can see now that there's a sort of absurdity. And I then held that with regards to like having mega compassion. And I'm like, well, yeah, maybe the adult self can be like, how silly of me, but look at it from the perspective of a 3-year-old. Look at it from a perspective of a 5-year-old. Suddenly it's less absurd and more like, oh, they really thought like, right, I will be strong, or I will protect so-and-so, or I will. And then as an adult, breaking down those protective barriers, and you're like, oh my God, that little kid they were just trying to survive. And that's a huge part, I think, of compassion, understanding that our protective mechanisms are survival on a certain level. However, the discernment in how to unpack and kind of realign ourselves is to also recognize that that's ego too. The ego can be resistant to letting go, whether it's good, bad, right, wrong, right? But it's the attachment to that sense of self or that identity or that habit or whatever it is. And I talk about this stuff with it in my entirety of landscape where there's a lots of Shazam too, right? I just seem to have that ability to kind of abstract my mindset and go, whoa, this is fascinating, right? It's a point of interest as much as it's a field of study, as much as it's career, as much as it, right? But it's just the depth of our ability to transform and manifest fascinates me to no end. So I dive in, but realize it's not, I'm thinking this, so there it's going to drop into my reality. No, this stew of the entirety of our unconscious and our super conscious kind of polarities is these sort of godly expressions of divine life force. It's like, yeah, it's so, and there's the paradox. We could noodle away. We could have intelligent dialogue about all of this stuff and still have no answers when it comes down to that existential mystery, right? It's just like, but then that's also what rebounds me back to like, guys, what are we doing? Why do we take ourselves so seriously? Why are we killing each other? Why are we betraying each other? Right? Why are we denying? No, because in my observation, because people don't want to feel. Ugly cry. It's like, ooh, no, put that away. You're weak, or you're just being like, I've had that too, where it's like people just think it's you're doing it for attention, or who knows. But there again, when you have enough distance, you realize that's everything to do with other people's judgments. It's everything to do with where other people are. And why do we attract them? Because part of us needs that hit. Part of us needs that reflection to and those triggers to trigger out all of our shames, all of our wounds, all of our lack, all of our scarcity, all of our unworthiness, not enough, I'm not good enough, I don't belong anywhere, nobody wants me, why am I always alone? God, you could just, the amount of times that I've caught myself in victimhood and I'm literally hearing something that my mom or dad said when I was a little kid, and I'm like, oh, there it is. Hi, belief systems, right? Core belief systems. That's that's where we learned some of the original essences of being a human being, right? So, all right, my loves, let's just crack on. Let's get a few more cards here. I've just totally rambled, but hopefully for some of you, beautiful Saggies, that was useful. I'm there again here in this energy. I'm getting a little bit of a sense of don't compromise and protect yourself. I just feel like for some of you, just be mindful, stay a little bit guarded. You can be open, but don't compromise your personal integrity or energy for other. Only because for some of you, there's a miser in your wrist. For some of you, there's somebody that could steal your ideas. Just steal like your essence, almost. Like, I don't think it's that nefarious, but there's just a bit of sneaky energy. I'm going to just say it broadly and simply. There's a little bit of sneakle-ish, hence don't compromise. If you compromise, it could be that somebody steals from you, takes from you, or totally does one over on you. There's a thief. That's what the miser's feeling like. Somebody's a thief. So just, I don't know, if you're in a situation with other people around, just lock your things or just be aware. But then who am I? These are just random little tarot reads, right? Holla Shazam. We got a new word, and then also TV Instagram share for the daily read. Shazamels, was that what it was? Shazamels? Yeah. Okay. Whoa. These two cards. There's 2 Three of Cups over here, and I'm thinking, wowzers. Okay, so after this, I'm hearing the word clusterfuck, pardon my French. After this cluster of energy, some healing, some protection, some movement, maybe some familial arrangements that need to be kind of looked after, go to them, go to the family. Then there's some sort of party. It is the summertime, festivals and all that juicy juice. But there's definitely some sort of celebration on the horizon. This could be like a wedding, or maybe for some of you, you're getting together with a couple of friends and just going dancing or going to the beach or going somewhere where you can definitely let loose, have a nice time, have a frolic, have a dance, right? Again, this is now repeat, but there's definitely like a bit of a sneaky energy in your midst, I'm sorry to say. And this is obviously is not going to res with everybody. For some of you, be vigilant with regards to what you're saying and what you're leaving out. These messages, and this is what intuitive tarot fascinates me, is that the messages are just the messages. Like, people have reflected that after booking a year, or sending me a message like a year or even 2 years after they had a booking. They're like, yeah, I didn't want to hear it, or certain things didn't land, but then time passed, and then I look back and it was like, wow, super resonant, or that didn't happen, but then 2 days later after the reading, something did happen. You're like, wow. So this is what fascinates me, is that the tarot with the intuition is just, I always try to hone that for people too. This is the timestamp of the present moment. My intuition with your intuition, sort of extrapolating energies in your vortex, which is the entirety of your creative field. So and divine guidance. So the expectation would be that any little hiccups or any little knots or any little sneaky people will come up, and it's not like saying anything you don't know right now. So if you're like in a super happy relationship and your family is amazing and then this is not for you, right? This message specifically isn't for you. However, if you're traveling, or if you're living in a shared housing situation, you catch my drift, then this situation could be, and if you suspect that somebody's been coming into your room, or that another person is like, hey, have you seen my phone, or if there's things going missing, this is resonant. This means that somebody, and I'm not saying these are bad people, people do what they do, right? But most of us don't want our shit to get stolen. So this is something about, you're not going to compromise yourself, but beware that there could be a thief in the midst. This is somebody super sneaky, but they're definitely taking stuff from the group, hence not compromising. If your intuition is picking up on something, find a way to nail them, basically. I'm seeing some, like, put a little phone camera or something set up so that you could suss out, I don't know, this is silly now, but for some of you it could be relevant, and of course for some of you it could end up totally shining light on somebody who's doing a bit of dirty, right? So I'm gonna get a final few messages. Oh yeah, and then that was a card that got me back into this whole like trickery, somebody playing games, is that I've also chosen the hyena. The hyena to me is not a trustworthy energy. It's somebody who like does shady shit and laughs about it. So there's a sort of, and the hyena, they typically kind of laugh or something. They have a laughter about the howl. So there's this real mischievous sort of, but most of us don't want to be caught in it, right? It's fair enough to see it from a distance. This energy is basically just making, yeah, shadow work is always going to be part of that, but pardon me, for some of you there is truly something about just looking after your body. The tear of the temple, shadow work. So there's shadow work to be done, but looking after your body, so that you get that sense of renewal, right? For some of you, yeah, okay. So I think as you drop into this renewal and deeper sense of trust, there could be more opportunity for Pentacle 9 and the 8. No, 7, I lie. 9 and 8. So 8, 9, there's a progression, there's an evolution. It could just be that you're learning to be a bit more responsible with your finances and or your energy, because they all go together. They, remember at the beginning, it was like you're just not pulling out. You've pulled back and you're not giving as much. And that's a good thing. It might be challenging though. Bearing in mind, even these like counterintuitive flip round, when we lay down patterns that we've carried for most of our life, it can feel weird as anything. But who am I? Who am I without doing everything for everybody all the time, or always being there for somebody or whatever? Who am I without that title of the good person or the healer or the whatever, right? And then it's like you've just your divine essence. It's almost like a letting that part of you, or whether, so say it's the people pleasing or the compromiser or the miser, the person who hides everything back. That's part of this I guess rebirth, or just renewal, is that you're destroying that part of you. You're like, wow, I cannot carry on like this. I can't survive as an adult like this. So thank you to that little child who came up with these coping strategies, but I'm gonna move on. So Saggy, my loves, you guys are amazing. Again, I have like Libra. Saggies are like lights in my world. It's, yeah, I've always got like one token friend who's super Sagittarian. Actually, one of my very good gal pals, she's born on the winter solstice, Sag energy, right? So is that right? Oh, I guess she'd be right on the cusp of Capricorn, but I'm pretty sure she falls into Sag. Anyway, Saggy, I love you guys loads. Have an amazing month. I look forward to seeing you guys next time. And of course, if you want to book a private reading, please feel free to do so. And if you join Patreon, patrons get these videos a few days before I publicize them live. And sometimes I'll get the link to you. So if you happen to check the Patreon and then posting the link, you can even catch me live. And then also the noodle shares and stuff like that. It's like the Patreon, but it's a little bit more systematized and profesh than what I was doing with the live share crew. So I appreciate all of you. Have a great month. I look forward to seeing you next time.